Welcome to Fantasia, home of the melodious. My name is Azallea, and today, gonna be bringing you guys an update to my Lunalight deck. So without further ado, let's just get right into this. First off, we are playing 3 copies of Lunalight White Rabbit. Now, White Rabbit, when you normal summon her, you can special summon another Lunalight monster from your graveyard in face-up defense position. She also has a second effect where you can target spell and trap cards that your opponent controls up to the number of other Lunalight cards that you control and return them to the hand. So basically, she acts as a mini giant Trune that clears the way for all of your future plays. She is also great bait for things like Solemn Strike and Solemn Warning, because people want to get rid of her, which is actually pretty good for us. Okay, so next off, we are playing 3 copies of Lunalight Black Sheep. Now, Black Sheep is the main monster of the deck. She has several effects. The first 2 effects are you can discard this card from your hand to add a Lunalight monster from your graveyard back to your hand. We don't really use that one that much, but we do use the second one where we discard her to add a polymerization from our deck to our hand. So she's the main card that we use to search polymerization, and in conjunction with White Rabbit, these 2 can easily help us facilitate fusion summons. Speaking of fusion summons, her third effect, when she is used as a material for a fusion summon, you can add 1 Lunalight monster from your graveyard or your extra deck back to your hand. So she basically helps us counteract the minuses that fusion summoning inherently has. Okay, so next off, I decided to cut Purple Butterfly in this build, and it's been working pretty well. So moving on past the Purple Butterfly, we have 3 copies of Lunalight Blue Cat. Now, the reason why I cut Purple Butterfly is because she just kind of dead in the hand, and her level didn't really help. If she was a level 4, it would definitely be a great addition to the deck, but as it stands right now, don't really need her. The only thing she was really good for was getting over things like Vanity's Fiend, because if you boost the Blue Cat up to 2600, you can attack over Vanity's Fiend. But anyway, play 3 copies of Blue Cat, which is the floater of the deck. So when she's destroyed by battle or by card effects, you can special summon another Lunalight monster straight from your deck. She can also special summon herself, which is really nice because you can create a little loop with her, especially with Lunalight Tiger as well, to just defend from an OTK and then fill up your graveyard with enough fodder for next turn. Her other effect is that when she's special summoned, you can target another Lunalight monster you control and double its original attack. This makes our fusion monsters huge and gives them enough attacking power to go for game. So she is definitely great, and I definitely recommend running 3 of. Next off, we're running 3 copies of Lunalight Tiger, the one that works extremely well in conjunction with Blue Cat. Now, Lunalight Tiger is basically a double monster reborn in a single card. The pendulum effect says once per turn you can target 1 Lunalight monster in your graveyard, special summon it to your side field. It cannot attack, and its effects are negated and destroyed during the end phase. That's important because even if you don't do anything with the monster, if you get back a Blue Cat can trigger during the end phase and float. But she's also great for facilitating rank 4 plays with Blue Cat. She can help bring back Black Sheep, so you can use it as material to get other cards from your graveyard back to your hand. So she's just really great overall. Definitely recommend running 3. Scale 5's alright, so you can pendulum summon things like Blue Cat as well. Also, her monster effect is when she's destroyed by battle or by card effect, which includes in the Pendulum Zone, by the way. You can target 1 Lunalight monster in your graveyard and special summon it with no strings attached. So definitely run 3 of her. And for our last Lunalight monster, we run 1 copy of Lunalight Wolf. Now, Lunalight Wolf is a miracle fusion for the deck. If you put it in the Pendulum Zone, you can banish Lunalight monsters on your field or in your graveyard to fusion summon one of their fusions. And her monster effect on the field, she basically allows all of our Lunalight monsters to inflict piercing damage, which is nice if our opponent is trying to wall up, so we can still swing for game. Okay, so for the non-Lunalight monsters, we run 2 copies of Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon. Now, Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon is great in this deck because it can search Lunalight Tiger. And there's a little loop with Sky Iris, Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon, and Lunalight Tiger, where if you use Sky Iris to pop the Tiger, you can search an Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon, set the Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon in your scale, and during the end phase, you search another Tiger. So you just kind of have this mini monster reborn loop going with Tiger, and Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon helps fuel that. And he's a level 7, which is good for overlay materials as well if you're going to go into rank 7s. Okay, so next off, we are playing 2 copies of Odd Eye's Mirage Dragon. This is a great target because it's a dark. Same with Odd Eyes, it's a dark for Allure of Darkness, and it's level 3. Doesn't really matter, but it is a scale 8, which means that if you have this and Lunalight Tiger, which is a scale 5, you can pendulum summon your Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragons from your extra deck after you use them for searching. Its pendulum effect is also pretty useful, so if an Odd Eyes monster on your side of the field is destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can destroy 1 card in your pendulum zone, and if you do, place 1 face-up Odd Eyes monster in your pendulum monster in your extra deck into that pendulum zone. So basically, if you have an Odd Eyes Mirage Dragon in one of your scales, and you have a Lunalight Tiger in your other scale, and your opponent destroys an Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon or an Odd Eyes Mirage Dragon, you can use Mirage to pop the Tiger in your pendulum scale to set the Odd Eyes into your pendulum scale, and then afterwards Tiger gets to bring back a monster from your graveyard. So it's just a little neat combo and interaction that not a lot of players know about. So definitely worth running 2 of these. I'd recommend them over Perform Power Odd Eyes Unicorn, just because of its versatility, and it has higher attack stats. Okay, to wrap up the monster count, we play 2 copies of Max C. Max C is great for allowing us to get our combo pieces, and plus we like going second, so having this in your opening hand is just great to fend off your opponent's boards, to make sure they don't go too crazy on their first turn, and to give you enough draws that you can go off on yours. So that does it for the monsters. Next off, we're going to go into the spell cards. So for the spell cards, starting off with 3 copies of Fire Formation Tenki. Now Tenki searches any level 4 or lower Beast Warrior type monster from our deck. So definitely great. It searches out everything except Lunalight Wolf. Next off, we play 2 copies of Polymerization because that is our main fusion spell, and 1 copy of Fusion Substitute. I like Fusion Substitute because it works really well with White Rabbit and Black Sheep, because White Rabbit brings another material to your side of the field, which makes this immediately live. And also, you can banish this card from your graveyard to return a fusion monster from your extra deck to the extra deck to get a draw. Okay, so next off we play 2 copies of Fusion Recovery. Fusion Recovery allows us to bring back our polymerizations and a fusion material, most likely going to be a Black Sheep. And this is, if you have this, you're more likely than not going to be able to make at least a Panther Dancer, and it'll be pretty easy to make a Leo Dancer as well if you have the correct materials in your hand. So that is really good in that regard. Next off, we play 3 copies of Allure of Darkness. Now, Allure of Darkness, I've been really iffy about this card, but it really does help unbrick your hand sometimes, especially if you draw too many of your Odd Eyes cards. You can always Allure of Darkness them away, so that is great. And because you can easily search out, an Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon or an Odd Eyes Mirage Dragon, this card is almost never dead. And if you White Rabbit Black Sheep combo and Black Sheep returns the White Rabbit back to your hand after you fuse with them, you can always Allure of Darkness to pitch the White Rabbit and draw 2 cards that way. Okay, so next off we're going to go into the field spells. We play 1 copy of the Secret Tech Black Garden. Now Black Garden, amazing card with an amazing effect. Basically, each time an opponent summons a monster, you get to special a token to the opposite side of their field. So if your opponent summons something, you get a token. If you summon something, they get a token. The token's 800 attack and defense. And the cool thing about this card is that there's so many interactions with it in this deck that I really want to get into. So basically, what you can do is you can summon a bunch of tokens to your opponent's side of the field by summoning a bunch of monsters onto yours. Then you can replace this field spell with another field spell, like set it face down or something, or activate your Skyris. And then what happens is you can summon your Panther Dancer, and then you can attack everything your opponent controls twice each, and basically win the game from there. Black Garden is also really good because it halves the attacks of all the monsters that are summoned. So if your opponent tries to summon like big monsters and stuff, it's going to get halved, and then you can easily run over it with any other monster that you control prior to the activation of this card. So really great, and there's a bunch of different effects that this card has, and I definitely recommend you look it up and check it out for yourself. Alright, so next off we run 2 copies of Sky Iris. Now Sky Iris is really good because it works so well with Blue Cat and Lunalight Tiger, so this just triggers all of their effects and is great for setting up and searching as well. And to top it off for the field spells, we run 2 copies of Terraforming to search out Black Gardens and Sky Irises. You never really want to open more than one Sky Iris. So the good thing about Black Garden is that now if you open a Sky Iris and Terraforming, you actually have a target for Terraforming that makes sure you don't have another dead Sky Iris in your hand. So that's just really nice in that regard as well. Okay, so next off we run 2 copies of Lunalight Perfume, basically a Monster Reborn and a Searcher for the deck, not limited to once per turn for either effect. So you can Monster Reborn, banish this card, pitch a card, and search something as well in the same turn. Most likely going to be a wolf or maybe a black sheep, but really depends on what your hand is looking at the time. Next off, we run 2 copies of Twin Twisters for that spell and trap removal. Also really great for just pitching some Lunalight monsters to bring back with Perfume, with Tiger, and all that good stuff. And then we play 1 copy of Upstart Goblin for that consistency boost, and we don't really care if our opponent gains 1,000 life points since we're playing Lunalights. No traps for the deck, because you don't need it, and they're really slow, and they don't really contribute much to your combos. But yeah. So that does it for the main deck. Next off, we're going to go into the side deck. So for the side deck, starting off with 2 copies of DD Crow. Now, DD Crow is great because it's a hand trap. You can pitch it from your hand to target 1 card in your opponent's graveyard and banish it. It's really good for ABCs, for Metaphos, hitting their Metaphos Fusion. You can hit so many different cards like Burning Abyss, Phantom Knights, all that good stuff. And plus, if you don't really need it at the time, it is a dark, so it is a target for Allure of Darkness. Okay, next off we were running 2 copies of Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. Now, Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, absolutely beautiful card because it hits so many relevant things right now. It can hit, the Blue Eyes deck with their Azure Eyes. You can hit Alternative Dragons. You can hit field spells like the ABC field spell. You can hit DDD Contracts. You can hit Metaphos Scales. This card is just really versatile overall and definitely recommend playing 2. Next off, for my little secret tech, I guess, in the side, I play 2 copies of Jinzo. Now, Jinzo, as we all know, classic card. Trap cards and their effects cannot be activated, and the effects of face-up trap cards are negated. So since we don't play any trap cards, I decided, why not play a Jinzo? It is really good against decks like Paleozoics and Magispectors right now, especially because, well, 1, you can tribute summon it pretty easily because we get a lot of fodder with a Tiger being able to special summon stuff from our graveyard, and we get to save our normal summon for things like this. Also, because it's a level 6, so you can Pendulum Summon it because Tiger's a scale 5 and Mirage Dragon's a scale 8, so you can always Pendulum this to your side of the field and just hope your opponent doesn't have a Solemn Strike or something. But yeah, definitely a very powerful card to have. Next off, for our monster removal, we were playing 3 copies of Radian, the multi-dimensional kaiju. Now, decided to choose Radian over the normal Kumungus that I run, mostly because it is a dark. So it is definitely a target for Allure of Darkness if you don't need it at the moment. The thing I found about Kumungus is that sometimes you just don't really want to use it once in your hand, so this definitely will help alleviate some of that and give us extra targets for Allure, just so we don't have to banish our combo pieces. Okay, next off we play 1 copy of Raigeki for that monster removal, just in case some of our opponents side in Floodgate monsters like Vandy's Fiend and stuff that we just want to get rid of. And next off we play 2 copies of Pot of Acquisitiveness. So because we play 3 Allures of Darknesses and Lunalight Wolf can banish stuff from our graveyards, this is actually really great for recycling some of the things that we banish. It gets back some of our Odd Eyes targets if we banish those off Allure, and it's just great overall. You can also use this to disrupt your opponent by shuffling cards in their banished pile into their deck and drawing a card off of that as well. So very versatile card, and I really do love it. Okay, so the last card in the side deck, we play 3 copies of System Down. System Down, you pay 1,000 life points, you banish all machine-type monsters on your opponent's side of the field and in their graveyard. So really great against ABCs, maybe people are playing Dynamist, things like that. Just really great overall, and definitely a blowout card against those decks. So that does it for the side deck. Next off, we're going to go into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, starting off with Sky Cavalry Centauria. Sky Cavalry is a rank 2 monster, normally going to make it with a white rabbit and a black sheep if you don't feel like fusion summoning at the time. This card cannot be destroyed in battle if it has XYZ materials, and at the end of the damage step, if this card battles an opponent's monster, you can detach one XYZ material from it and return that opponent's monster to the hand. So this is really great non-targeting, non-destruction removal. It can get rid of things like Chaos Max, anything that's really problematic that we couldn't really attack over, we can just bounce it back to the hand. So definitely very, very strong form of removal right there. Next off, this is a new addition to the extra deck because I kind of cleared up the Odd Eyes thing. So you noticed I didn't run Odd Eyes Fusion in my main deck. That's mostly because I found that if I was popping a blue cat or something, I'm always going to have a monster on the field, and Odd Eyes Fusion was just not live enough for me to really utilize it as much as I wanted to. And I usually didn't have enough negations in the extra deck for it to last more than one turn, so I was kind of iffy on that, and I decided to cut it. One of the replacements that I got for the extra deck was Evil Swarm Nightmare. Now this is kind of an old card, it's a really old card, but it requires 2 level 4 dark monsters, which Blue Cat is, and it says when your opponent special summons a monsters, except during the damage step, you can detach one XYZ material from this card, change that special summon monsters to face down defense position. So this is not once per turn, and it's basically a pseudo like Book of Eclipse. If your opponent's special summoning things like from the extra deck, if they're pendulum summoning 5, you can flip all that stuff face down. It's just really, really powerful, and I definitely recommend trying it out. 1950 defense means that no normal summoned monster can really attack over this thing, so it's very strong to set up, especially on your first turn. Okay, so next off we play 1 copy of Diamond Direwolf. Added this in because you can pop your tigers on your field, you can pop your blue cats, trigger their effects, and basically get free pops out of him, which is really great. He can also destroy face down cards, so you can get rid of things like mirror forces and things that your white rabbit couldn't get rid of. Maybe you didn't have enough Lunalight cards on your side of the field to bounce things back. Diamond Direwolf can definitely clear out a lot of that for you as well. Then we run 1 Castel, the Sky Blaster Musketeer, to spin things back to the deck. 1 copy of Brotherhood the Firefist Tiger King. You go into this almost like every game. So when you XYZ summon this, you get a free Tenki from your deck. You can activate the Tenki and search and stuff. And he also acts as a skill drain. So if you detach a material from him, you can negate the effects of all monsters on the field that are not Beast Warriors. And all of your monsters are basically Beast Warriors. So really, really powerful in that regard. Next off, kind of a little tech to go with Black Garden. I run 1 copy of number 103 Ragna Zero. So for this card, it says once per turn during either player's turn, you can detach 1 XYZ material from this card, then target 1 face-up attack position monster that your opponent controls, whose current attack is different than its original attack, destroy it, and if you do, draw 1 card. And because we're playing Black Garden, your opponent's monster's attacks are going to be halved when they summon it, and so you can always just get a free pop out of all those monsters and get free draws. So really, really strong, really powerful, and actually kind of funny because it really prevents your opponent from going off or doing anything. Okay, so next off we run 1 copy of Utopia, and we'll cap things off with a Utopia the Lightning, which basically runs over any threat that we don't want on the field, prevents floating, and all that good stuff. And last but not least, for our XYZs, we play 1 copy of number 11 Big Eye. Definitely recommend having one of these. If not, you can probably run a Flare Metal as well, because if you can't OTK, you can burn them for game. But Big Eye just helps you steal problem monsters. We have Odd Eyes, that's a level 7, and we have Lunalight Cat Dancer, which is also level 7 that you can overlay. So that's it for the XYZ monsters. Next off, we're going to go into the fusion monsters. So for the fusion monster, starting off with 2 copies of Lunalight Cat Dancer. This is one of the first stages of the fusions, so it just requires 2 Lunalight monsters. She cannot be destroyed by battle, and you contribute another Lunalight monster that you control, and she can attack each of your opponent's monsters twice each. The first time, they will not be destroyed by battle. And every time she attacks, she inflicts 100 damage to your opponent. Seems kind of dumb to be at like 100 damage, but it does add up over multiple attacks. If you're attacking, you're clearing out your opponent's field with multiple monsters, it does kind of add up for an extra few hundred damage, which can make a difference. So yeah, and she's a level 7, and she can be brought back with Lunalight Tiger, so you can always reuse her and stuff. You bring her back, overlay for Big Eye, detach for Big Eye, pop your Tiger, bring back the Cat Dancer. Just a lot of cool interactions that you can do with this deck. Okay, next off we go for the Stage 2 fusion, 2 copies of Lunalight Panther Dancer. This is, in my opinion, the true boss monster of the deck. So this requires a Lunalight Cat Dancer and another Lunalight monster. So what she can do is she cannot be destroyed by card effects, first of all, and then you can activate her effect for free during the main phase to be able to attack each of your opponent's monsters twice each, similar to Cat Dancer. And the thing is that if she destroys a monster by battle, she gains 200 attack. So if you're attacking, multiple monsters, she gets bigger and bigger with every monster that she destroys. So really great. And plus, both of these cards, when they attack multiple times each, if your opponent is floating and summoning new monsters each time, you can attack each of those new monsters twice each as well. So it really discourages them from floating and just kind of lets their field die out. Also, if you boost either of them up with Lunalight Blue Cat, they become huge, and you're probably going to OTK that turn. Okay, so what the game wants you to believe is the boss monster of the deck is a Lunalight Leo Dancer that we run. I prefer Panther Dancer right now. Obviously, with things like Kaleido Chick and things coming out in the future, Leo Dancer will actually become an easy to summon boss monster. But for now, it's kind of so I'd run it at 1. You don't really need more than 1. If you're summoning this, you're going to go for a game that turn. So 3,500 attack. She cannot be targeted by card effects or be destroyed by card effects, and she can attack twice during each battle phase. So she is huge. If you boost her up with a Blue Cat, she becomes a 7,000 attack, non-targetable, non-destructible beat stick that can attack twice for 7,000. Absolutely insane. Definitely love her in the extra deck. And last but not least, a lot of you guys have been asking me how to incorporate this into the deck. Well, you just put him in there. Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. Really strong card and can help you get over things like Ultimate Falcon and all these other big boss monsters that are unaffected and stuff. So, if you don't know, you have to fuse 2 dark monsters on the field that are not tokens. So it's really easy for us to do with White Rabbit and Black Sheep, and Tiger bringing things back, Perfume bringing things back as well. So it says that if this card is fusion summoned, you can make this card gain attack equal to the attack of 1 special summon monster your opponent controls until the end of the turn. And then once per turn, you can target 1 level 5 or higher monster your opponent controls. Until the end of this turn, this card gains the effect of that monster and the name of that monster, and basically you can use that effect if you really want to, because it replaces the original effect of Starving Venom. And then if this fusion summon card is destroyed, you can destroy all special summon monsters that your opponent controls. So just 3 absolutely insane effects onto 1 card. Really do love it. You can just summon it, it'll gain the attack of something. Let's say your opponent has a Blue Eyes. It gains 3,000 attack, so it's immediately 5,800 attack, and you can just run things over. You can get the effects of Alternative, you can pop something if you really wanted to, and if this thing ever gets removed from the field and destroyed, you can just nuke your opponent's field as well. So really powerful effect, really powerful card. Definitely has a place in this deck, and I love it. So that does it for the fusion monsters, and that does it for the extra deck and the deck profile. So thank you all so much for watching this video. Whew, there's a lot of talking. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed it or found it helpful, please leave a like, subscribe for more Lunalight content, and leave a comment down below letting me know what I can do to improve. And until next time, take care.